Hello everybody, welcome to the Mild Rumpus, coming at you live from the House of Flimsy. Today, I will be doing the New York book tag. Yeah! Well, folks, it's Tuesday, and it is time for a long overdue book tag. I was tagged in this months ago by Big Hard Books and Classics, and Graham Matthews at one point tagged me, I believe. But I knew I wanted to wait until this moment because this week marks my 10th year anniversary of moving to the city. It seems like only yesterday I landed in LaGuardia. I moved to the city with a single suitcase, and when I landed, it was nowhere to be found. I had to hang around the airport for a few hours, crossing my fingers and toes that all of my earthly possessions would eventually show up. Luckily they did, and I was prepared for the worst. I didn't buy a proper bed, furniture, television, nothing for 6 months. I was like, the minute I lay down roots, sure as the world, I'm gonna lose my job, I'm gonna get fired and out on the streets with you. But luckily that didn't happen. And now as I look around the apartment, I cannot imagine moving all of this crap that I have accumulated. Is really kind of crazy. But enough about me and my weirdo paranoia. Let's get to the book tag. So this tag was created by Jim's Books, Reading and Stuff. And again, I was tagged by Big Hard Books and Classics and Graham Matthews. And having known that I wanted to do this tag and wanted to do it right, I've been taking B-roll footage out and about the city. So throughout the video, you'll see little snippets of New York and Brooklyn and wherever I was in the last few months. Question number 1, what is your favorite book set in or around New York? For this question, I'm gonna go with a nonfiction book because honestly, my fiction books, both of them are red flags. American Psycho, A Little Life. So for this question, I'm going to go with Just Kids by Patti Smith. It's the story of her as a young artist trying to make it and meeting up with this fellow named Robert Mapplethorpe. They wind up being lovers and then later friends, and it's just a beautiful story about beautiful people. So check it out. Question number 2, New York is famous for its skyscrapers. What is the highest building you have been up? Gotta say, not the biggest fan of heights. I don't know how people live in those luxury high-rise apartments. I would be sweating bullets the entire time. I don't think I could sleep knowing I was that high up in the air. It just makes me feel too vulnerable, especially if there was a fire and they couldn't get to you. Again, the paranoia is real. Having said that, I have been up the Empire State Building. That is 102 floors, 1,454 feet up in the air. And recently it had a dragon sitting atop it. So that's the tallest building that I've been on, but I have to say I was more freaked out by the Eiffel Tower just because you can see the climb as you go higher and higher. Not so with the Empire State Building. Number 3, New York, New York. So good they named it twice. What was the last book you reread? It's really rare that I will sit down and reread something that I've already read, just because there are so many books in this world left to read, right? But 2 months ago for Horror Mayhem, I did reread Frankenstein, which I hadn't read since high school. I didn't really remember a lot of it, and I think I got a lot more out of it this go round. Really enjoyed it, and we'll probably revisit the book again soon because I want to see the annotations and the additions that Percy Shelley made, and then probably read the finished novel again. Number 4, American Psycho was a disturbing novel set in New York. What is the most disturbing book you have read? Yep, you're right. American Psycho is definitely a disturbing novel, I'll give you that. But hold my beer. This is not a book that I seeked out. This book found me. It was sitting in the community bookshelf. It looked like an unread, brand new copy. I vaguely remembered Bjork saying that it was one of her favorite books. So I picked it up, I started reading it, and it felt like a crime. Perhaps the most shocking thing about this book is that it was written in 1928. And it still, to this day, is the most profane, disgusting, offensive, vile thing I have ever read in my life. Even after reading the afterword and understanding the symbolism and all that, no. If you read the book, and I'm definitely not suggesting that you do, I am not recommending that you read it, but have a bottle of Lysol near you because you're gonna wanna cleanse when you're done. Not gonna lie, slightly traumatized. I will never be able to look at a hard-boiled egg the same way, ever again, ever. Number 5, where were you when you heard the news about 9/11? When I heard the news about 9/11, I was living in Austin, Texas. I was a college student. I was in my first apartment. I remember I was running late for class that day. I had a bootleg early release copy of Tori Amos's album Strange Little Girls, which was an album of cover songs. And when the phone rang, her cover of Slayer's Raining Blood, of all things, was playing. And I remember picking up the phone and my parents saying, turn on the TV, turn on the TV. And there it was. You know, I started the video off by saying it feels like only yesterday that I moved here, but seeing that in real time, those images are just seared in my mind. Watching that in real time and then having it played over and over and over again. And just remembering what it felt like at the time. You know, you felt guilty for living your life, for having a good time. It felt wrong to go out and party or go out and celebrate or go out and do something fun because there was so much suffering in the world. And in such a horrible moment, the country really came together in a way that I don't think people, if you didn't experience it, you can't even imagine it. People were willing to roll up their sleeves and do anything they could to help out with the situation, whether that was giving their money, their time, their blood, like anything they could to help relieve this catastrophe. And if you weren't around for it, good on you. But also I feel sorry for you because prior to 9/11, it was a very different America. Things have just shifted and changed so much since then. I mean, I don't think that there will ever be, or I hope to God, knock on wood, that there will never be a moment like that again where there's such a cultural shift. Number 6, what is your favorite movie set in New York? This is a really tough one for me because I love movies just as much as I love books. And there were so many great movies that are set in New York. I mean, you've got everything from Taxi Driver to Muppets Take Manhattan, Sidewalk Stories, Do the Right Thing. But if I'm being honest, the movie that I love and probably have watched the most and was the most formative in my youth was Little Shop of Horrors. Love that movie, could watch it anytime, any day, anywhere. Number 7, have you been to New York? When was the last time you visited New York? Yep, been to New York. The last time I visited was, right now. The first time I visited, I was probably around 14 years old. It was right on the cusp. Giuliani and Disney were about to do that big sweep up of 42nd Street and Times Square. So I did come in time to see the seedy, gritty New York that you only see in the movies. You know, it was exactly what is portrayed. It was electronic stores, ma and pa restaurants, grindhouse theaters and peep shows, basically. If you have not visited New York, it is an absolute must at some point. Living here probably is not for everyone. I'll grant you that, but you owe it to yourself to visit at least once and just see what it's like and what all the city has to offer. You know, I've been here now a decade, and I can tell you I've barely scratched the surface of all of the things to see and do. It's fantastic. I love it. It's noisy, it's dirty, but I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. Number 8. Who is your favorite painter from New York? Or what is your favorite painting of New York? When you think of the New York art scene, the Holy Trinity springs to mind. You've got Warhol, Basquiat, and Haring. And out of those three, only Basquiat was born in New York. So by default, he should win. But in my mind, I think the artist that is the most closely associated to New York, still to this day, like you see his stuff on everything, is Keith Haring. And like Basquiat, you know, the fact that he made art for the people, he put it in the subways, on the streets, it was just always around, and it kind of became a part of the city's DNA. So, I mean, I would pick all three, but if I had to pick one, I would probably pick Keith Haring. Number 9, what is your favorite song about New York? Just like when it comes to books and movies, it's very difficult for me to pick one song, but the songs that immediately come to mind would be Walk on the Wild Side by Lou Reed. To me, that song always sort of was a fairy tale, and you know, being a Warhol fan, I loved that the song told the story of all of the superstars. Sondheim's Another 100 People, I think really encapsulates the hustle and bustle of the city. But out of all of the songs about New York, I think my favorite would have to be Don't Blame New York by Jim Andralis. It is not easy living here. It takes a lot of perseverance and a lot of grit. There's a ton of pros, but there are also a gazillion cons. And living here is really a compromise, and you have to work hard. You have to work hard. And that song, I think, really captures what it is truly like to live here and to have that New York experience. Number 10, tag some people. I would like to tag some fellow New York booktubers, although I don't think these people do tags, but I'm gonna throw it out there anyway. Bibliosophie and Turn the Page. Tag you are it, no obligations. And if you are watching and you're a New York booktuber, please comment down below, because I'm always on the lookout for some new booktubers that are, you know, living in the city. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tag. And as always, hope you're doing well. Happy reading. And until next time, bye.